would you spell your last name for the record?
My name is Kelly Bradshaw, Bradshaw.
Gotcha, Ms. Bradshaw. Where do you currently live?
I live in Lone Star County,
Where are you originally from?
Louisiana.
And when did you move here?
I moved to Lone Star about 9 years ago.
What kind of jobs do you know?
I've had a number of different jobs. I worked as a camp counselor and a waitress. I worked for different nonprofits, and I also owned a coffee shop at one time. I just got my bachelor's degree, and I'm currently waitressing.
And where are you working at now?
Shotgun Ladies.
And what were you doing on the night of October 2nd, 2014?
I had just gotten off of work, and I was driving to the 7-Eleven, and I couldn't pull into the 7-Eleven because of a car that was blocking the entrance, and some guys were kind of out surrounding the car. So I ended up parking in the parking lot of the Bull Crab.
Now you said that you saw some men over there in the parking lot. Did you recognize any of them?
I recognized one of them as this guy that I've known for a while. His name's Pete. I've seen him on and off. I hadn't seen him at that time for a while, but I did recognize him.
How long have you known Pete?
About 2 or 3 years, just kind of from living in the same town.
How would you describe your relationship?
I don't know if it goes far enough, close friends or something like that. More like acquaintances. We'd see each other, say hey, ask how's everything going, that type of thing, but not like a close friendship to call, hang out, that kind of thing. Like I said, I hadn't seen him in about a year.
And you said you were going to the 7-Eleven. Why were you going to the 7-Eleven?
It was after work, and I really couldn't recall exactly what I was doing. I was probably just going to pick up something to eat real quick on the way home.
And did Pete call you to come to the 7-Eleven?
No.
And when you got there, what did you observe?
When I first pulled up, I could see that Pete was standing outside of his car, but in between like where the door opens, so the door and the frame of his car. And he was in between them with the 2 guys that were outside of his car as well. They were on the other side of the door.
And what happened next?
Well, I couldn't pull into the 7-Eleven, so I ended up parking in the parking lot of the Bull Crab, and there was a car that was in between Pete's car and where I ended up parking. So I lost visual contact of Pete and the car and everything for a little bit. And I was kind of just sitting in my car for a minute or so, just because, there were a couple grown men fighting. I really didn't want to just jump out of the car and insert myself into this situation. I had also had a couple of drinks that night at work, so I was kind of just trying to assess the situation.
Before you lost sight of the fight, did you observe any fighting before that?
Whenever I had first pulled up and whenever I was about to park, I could see that one of the guys pulled his arm back and hit Pete, and then Pete did the same thing. He struck the other gentleman with, his fist. He just punched him. He had been hit, so.
Who swung first?
The other gentleman, Mr. James.
Now, when you lost sight of the fight when you were parking, you said that you had been drinking. How many drinks did you have that night?
It really wasn't that much. Like I said, I waitress at Shotgun Ladies, so we kind of drink while we're working and with the customers type of situation. So, I had had a couple, but it really wasn't anything that would impair me being able to see, know what I'm seeing. I probably shouldn't have been driving just because you shouldn't drink and drive, but,
Do you remember everything from that night?
Yes.
Was your vision impaired?
No.
And after you were in the car, you said you waited a little bit and you got out. What did you see after that?
When I got out, the guy had hit Pete and
Were they rolling around?
Yes.
And did the police show up?
Yes.
Who called the police?
I had told the manager of the bull crabs who, I think I had come out because they heard the commotion, to go call the cops. And so I think that she called the cops and they showed up shortly after.
And when the police showed up, did you talk to them?
I did.
And what did you tell them?
Well, I told them everything that I'm telling you now, how I had.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
We'll move on, Your Honor.
All right.
After this incident, did you talk to Pete Mitchell?
I did see Pete briefly after the incident took place, yes.
And without going into the content of that conversation, did you discuss your testimony today?
No, not at all.
And how does your friendship, and the fact that you talked after this event, affect your testimony here today?
It really doesn't. I'm really here just because I was asked to come testify what I saw that night. Like I said, I know Pete, but we're not great friends or anything. I'm not trying to, save him from something if he did something wrong. I'm just here to tell what I saw.
Thank you, Ms. Bradshaw. No further questions?
All right, cross-examination.
Ms. Bradshaw, you testified in direct that you've been friends with Mr. Mitchell for the past 3 years.
Yes,
And you've never met Mr. James, correct?
I had not met Mr. James before now.
And today you're testifying because the two women that represent your friend, Mr. Mitchell, asked you to come to court today, correct?
I was asked to come testify as to what I saw.
You were asked by these two women, correct? The state didn't ask you, correct?
Yeah.
And you were in the 7-Eleven that evening, were you?
I never made it.
So you never saw the beginning of the altercation between these two men, did you?
No, I didn't see anything until I had pulled up. It was after they were out in the they were in the 7-Eleven when I first pulled up.
And you never entered the gas station because you were out drinking prior to arriving at the parking lot, correct?
Well, I had been out working.
Working and
To
drinking.
clarify that. But yes, I had had a couple of drinks at work.
You were pretty buzzed, correct?
I don't think I'd say it was pretty buzzed. I had a buzz, if you want to call it that, but I wasn't just completely intoxicated or anything.
So you were buzzed, to clarify.
Sure.
And on direct, you testified you were driving.
Yes.
So you were driving while under the influence.
And I did say you shouldn't do that
Right, and why shouldn't you do that?
because it's dangerous.
And it impairs your judgment,
It can.
it impairs your vision.
It can.
So your judgment and vision were impaired when you witnessed a portion of the fight.
No, as I stated before, I said it can impair your judgment and vision, but my vision was not impaired that night.
So your body is resistant to alcohol.
Maybe I just have a high tolerance.
Okay. You have no way of knowing who started this fight because you arrived after it had begun in the gas station and then carried out to the parking lot, correct?
When I first pulled up, I didn't know that it started anywhere other than right there. I saw Pete be hit and then Pete in defense swing back.
So it's safe to say you didn't see the entire fight, correct?
If a fight started before that first hit that I saw, then no, I did not see the beginning.
And you never saw Mr. James slam a car door into Mr. Mitchell's legs, did you?
I don't think so. No, like I said, when I went and parked my car, there was that little bit of time that it took to park and then get out of the car and everything where I didn't see part of it. So.
But you saw Mr. Mitchell standing in between the door of a car and you never saw Mr. James slam the door into him.
I
Correct.
didn't see
Objection
that.
asked and answered.
I don't believe Chair fully answered the question, Your Honor.
I think I'll overrule it. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna say that I saw that. I didn't see that, so I don't wanna make up any facts or anything, but no, what I saw was Mr. James hit Mr. Mitchell hit Mr. James back, and that's when I parked my car.
Well, on the evening of the incidents, you reported to an officer that Mr. James was egging Mr. Mitchell on, correct?
Objection, hearsay.
What's the response? All right, I'll ask to sustain the objection.
Sorry. Okay. You also testified on direct that your view of the fight was blocked by a vehicle, correct?
For the couple of moments that it took to park the car and then figure out what I was gonna do, that for those moments, my vision was blocked.
So your testimony today is coming from a place of you being intoxicated and a vehicle blocking your view of a fight that you came to the middle of, correct?
Objection, compounding is concluded.
I don't see how it's speculative, Your Honor, she's.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Could you repeat the question?
Your testimony today is coming from a place where you are intoxicated, a car was blocking your view, and you came upon a fight in the middle of it occurring, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
I would
No
like
further
to
questions.
clarify-
All right, go ahead and finish your answer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would like to clarify that the car wasn't blocking my view in the parts that I saw, and the two punches that I saw thrown, the car was not blocking my view. As to you saying that my vision was impaired, that's, what you're saying. My statement is that my vision was not impaired on that night.
But you were buzzed that evening,
Yes.
and you did not witness portions of the incident,
The portions that you stated, no, I did not see those.
and you did not witness the beginning of the fight.
Not prior to the two punches thrown that I saw.
And you arrived at the 7-Eleven after Mr. Mitchell called you to come see the fight, correct?
No, Mr. Mitchell never called me.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, briefly. Ms. Bradshaw, when did you start drinking that night?
I went into work around 8 that night, so, I probably started later into the evening, once it was like closer to midnight,
And what time did this incident take place?
like 1 or 2 in the morning.
And was your vision impaired?
No,
Who threw the first punch?
Mr. James.
Thank you. No further questions.